Welcome back, and today we're talking about Jujutsu Kaisen episode 6. So, like always, let's just jump into it. Episode 6 of Jujutsu Kaisen was a great episode. Of course, we got to see our boy Itadori come back. It was awesome, but I just have to say, I called it. I think everybody should have called it. This, at the end of the day, is a shonen anime. Of course, the main character is not going to die episode 5. I don't know why they would do something like this because I feel like it was like false advertisement, right? I'm sure it got some people very hyped. I'm pretty sure some people believed it. But, I've been watching anime for way too long. This did not fool me for 1 second. I knew he was going to come back. And I'm glad they didn't drag it out. Because I feel like other animes will probably have dragged this out for 2 episodes. I'm glad they resolved it. It was the first thing they did. So, kudos for that. Now, essentially, Itadori went into Sakuna's domain and he made a deal with Sakuna, right? They started fighting, but come on, let's be real. There's no way Itadori was going to be able to fight and win against Sakuna inside of his domain. It's impossible. It was a fool's task, but still, Itadori, he was able to surprise Sakuna because of the different tactics that he tried. Now, let's go and start doing some theories, okay? Because I don't know about you, but to me, Sakuna and Itadori are like a spitting image. Now, of course, early on, whenever Sakuna was controlling Itadori's body, you would just think, well, of course it's going to look like that, right? Because it is Itadori's body. So there's no way we're going to see the actual Sakuna, how he looked back 1,000 years ago. But now that we're inside his domain, I don't see why we're not seeing his real body, right? Unless that is his real body and it looks exactly like Itadori's almost, right? Just minor changes. So I'm guessing Itadori is either his like direct descendant or maybe a distant descendant or something along those lines. But I feel like Itadori is part of Sakuna's family line. Now, we don't know exactly who Itadori's mother and father is. There's a reason why they haven't told us. I'm sure they're definitely involved with like Jujutsu and all that stuff because, again, why haven't we met them? That's a huge mystery. I'm sure they're gonna come up later on, and I wouldn't be surprised if they have something to do with Sakuna, or at the very least, a direct family line from Sakuna. That would be a really good thing to get into. Hopefully they do it sooner rather than later. Now, of course, Itadori comes back, but before that, we see Gojo talking to the other guy, saying how he wants to change the Jujutsu world, right? He wants to, essentially, that's why he became a teacher, because he wants to bring up the next generation of Jujutsu sorcerers so he can take on the world, right? Like the Jujutsu world, and change the world. Because right now, the top, the leaders of this organization, they're really making calls that at the very least Gojo thinks they're not the right calls, right? Like Itadori, why would they send Itadori to die when essentially he's the only one that can gather all of the 20 fingers from Sakuna and actually destroy them at the end of the day? So I'm sure Gojo, he's like the top thinker, he's like the top dog. So I'm sure he has some great plans. I mean, whenever he was talking to the nurse and telling her to not, change her report, keep it the way it is, that way that the top people in the Jujutsu organization, they don't think that Itadori is alive and they don't keep coming after him. So right now, Itadori is faking his death. And when he came back, butt naked, funny scene, a lot of fan service for the girls, for the ladies, heck, even for the boys. It's 2020. Everybody has to get fan service. You know what I mean? It was funny. This episode really had a lot of comedy in it, right? Again, they used this episode as like a training episode because we got that exchange event. Essentially, Jujutsu Tech is going to go against another school, another Jujutsu school. And essentially, the first and second years are going to go against the first and second years of that school. It's going to be like a little minor tournament arc. So I really am looking forward to this. I love tournament arcs in anime, so I can't wait to see how this anime handles that. Now, of course, there's going to be a training arc in between, and Gojo is personally training Itadori. That's awesome. They kind of showed us how Jujutsu works. Essentially, you got techniques, and the other one, I forgot the name, but essentially techniques, you're kind of born with that. So you can just, make the ones you want. There's something within your body, like 80% of all sorcerers have their techniques when they're born and stuff like that, and you just have to control them. It was really complicated. I would not be able to explain this unless I really take some deep notes and some deep research, but it was fairly simple. Honestly, I feel like Itadori, whenever it was being explained to him, I was kind of burning out, but it was funny. Itadori, whenever he was thinking about techniques, it was a huge Easter egg to some of the biggest animes and mangas out there. He's talking about the Kamehameha, he's talking about the Rasengan, he's even talking about the Bankai. It was absolutely funny. I was rolling with that scene. I absolutely loved it. And essentially this training involves Itadori watching movies so he can control his emotions, because in order to release the curse energy that he needs to do his attacks and stuff like that, because Gojo is telling Itadori that he really excels at close combat fighting, so that's gonna be good for the team, because we later on find out that Kugisaki and Fushiguro, they're not very good at close combat. They're better at long range or mid range combat. So I guess Itadori is going to fill that gap for them in the team of 3, and that's awesome. Now the training involves watching movies, because your emotions, you have to be able to control them. That way you're not releasing curse energy all over the place, and then when you actually need it, you won't have it. So it makes sense, right? Because watching movies, you can watch funny movies, action movies, you can watch comedy, sad, you have the full range spectrum of emotions when you watch movies. So the training made sense with the way that the curse energy works. I liked it. And now that the teddy bear that was in there punching Itadori every time his curse energy was fluctuating in a different manner that was not adequate, yeah, he would get punched. It was funny. He was enjoying a Coke and that dude just got hit. Again, this episode, at least that scene, had me rolling out. Of course, we didn't get too much into Kugisaki and her side of the training, but we did go into Fushiguro a little bit. We see that Fushiguro, he's paying his respect to the the mother of Tagashi, I believe that was his name. He's one of the kids that died whenever that special grade curse showed up. Yeah, it was messed up. He died, but Fushiguro kind of feels that he needed to go and pay his respect to her, that dude's mother. It was awesome. A little character development from Fushiguro, because if you remember last episode, whenever everything was going down, he wasn't about rescuing the body. He wasn't about getting the body and giving it to the mother. That was all Itadori. In fact, he wanted to leave the body because he was a criminal. His way of thinking was wrong, because at the end of the day, right, think about it from the mother's perspective, right? That's her son. It doesn't matter what he did. He could be a criminal, but the mother is going to love her son. That's the way it is. And the fact that it would have been nice to have his body, it would have been a good way to pay respect. Sadly, he wasn't able to get that done, but at the very least, he got the patch and he was able to give it to the mother, and he apologized. And seeing the mother breaking down again, no mother should have to live through her son passing away the way that he did, because it was. Now, speaking of brutal scenes, I mean, damn, that scene at the restaurant, I did not see it coming. It was so awesome. Okay, we see a character named Getao. He's the one coming up with the plan for the curses to kind of wage war on the humans. And his whole plan really is to seal Gojo. And we don't know exactly what they're going to do with Itadori, right? We don't know if they're going to kidnap him to use Sakuna's power. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. He did mention that in order for the curses to win, they need to take out Gojo and they need to bring Itadori to their side. And I'm pretty sure it's because of Sakuna. Now, I'm wondering if that Getao character and Sakuna, I wonder if they have some type of relationship, and that's why Sakuna created that, contract with Itadori, essentially for him to return to his body anytime he wants for a full minute. Maybe he needs that minute to go ahead and, make contact with Getao so he can set up this whole plan in motion. But that whole restaurant scene, when that guy was, quitting his job, saying that if he goes near that table, he would die, I honestly thought it was just negative energy and, nobody's gonna die. But then when people started just combusting into fire, it was brutal. The animation was very well done. You can see the pain in all those people's eyes. I mean, it made Fire Force look like, like it wasn't that big of a deal. The human combustion into fire, absolutely crazy. Everybody in that restaurant died fast and quick. Now, we got to talk about the power levels, right? Because Getao did tell that curse that he was speaking to that his power level is around 8 to 9 fingers of Sakuna. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Itadori has about 3, maybe 4. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, because I'm pretty sure if, Sakuna were to come out of Itadori and fight that you know, curse person, I'm sure Sakura would win. So I don't know if that's a realistic way to look at the power levels in this anime, but overall it was a very good episode. I mean, it was entertaining. That Easter egg with all the different animes, you know, Itadori with that little white figure of a ghost, yes, the way he was speaking, laughing, awesome. I cannot wait for episode 7. Hopefully we get one more episode of the training arc and see how far Fushiguro and Kugisaki you know, advance. Plus we get to see some progression with Itadori. That will be awesome. But really, I want to see the fight between Gojo and that one curse enemy, because he came in hot. He's planning to seal Gojo, so maybe we'll get to see Gojo go full out and just destroy this dude, or for all we know, he might actually get sealed, and then we don't know where this anime is going to go, because right now, as far as we know, Gojo is the only one that can actually stop Sakura. So if he gets sealed right here, we don't know where this is gonna go. But yeah, overall, great episode. Let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments down below. And like always, go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode.